On today's show, we're going to talk about whether or not the Falcons should go out and sign Yannick Ngakoue, and I'll give you a little bit of a teaser right now. They should. But the Falcons did go out and sign two players. We'll break down that move, but make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We are 86 subs away from reaching the next milestone here, 10,500 subscribers. So if you're looking for a Falcons YouTube channel, help us grow by hitting that sub button. Should the Falcons sign Yannick Ngakoue? Let's start today's show off by talking about this story here, because the former Colts and almost half the league now edge rusher is still on the market, which surprises me because it feels like the first wave of free agency is over. So a lot of the big contracts have been given out, and Atlanta still needs more pass rushers, so Ngakoue will make a lot of sense for Atlanta. Now, the current cap space for the Falcons is just over $25 million. Know two things. Cap numbers are always fluid, and the cap is a myth. It's not real. It's fake. So you can always manipulate it a little bit if you wanted to. You could always backload a contract. So don't look at 25. Plus, you do have to pay your draft pick, so keep some money in the bank. But don't look at 25 and think, oh, they can't afford Ngakoue. No, that is not the case. Now, the reason why we're talking about him specifically is because I saw this tweet from an NFL insider, Greg Gabriel, who tweeted out, after signing Samson Ebukam to play outside, I'm told Indy will not be trying to re-sign Ngakoue. So if the Colts are not trying to bring back number 91, maybe the Falcons could swoop in and sign the edge rusher, who has been one thing over the last 4 seasons. Consistent. Look at that. 4 straight seasons, 8+ sacks every single year. The last 2 years combined, 19.5 sacks. No player in the last 5 seasons comes close to that, if we're being honest. Now, he has had some issues with staying in one place. If he signs with another team this year, it'll be Jags, Vikings, Ravens, Raiders, Colts, and insert new team. 6 teams in 5 seasons. That's a bit concerning, a bit of a red flag as to why he can't stay in one spot. But you know what? I don't really care. Why? Because we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons pass rush, for crying out loud, that has finished in the last 5 seasons 31st, 32nd, tied for 24th, 31st, and tied for 25th. 5 straight years of being in the bottom quarter of the league, finishing dead last once, and second to last twice. They have no excuse to not go out and sign some big names and make it their number one priority for how abysmal it has been. Not just the last 5 years, but if we're actually going to open up memory lane, look at some sad facts, unfortunately, that I found. You might not realize it's been this bad. 2004 was the last time the Falcons had a top 10 finish in sacks. Conveniently, that's as far as ESPN stats go back for this. So if it went back even further, I don't know what I was going to do. Go find some old newspaper clippings. 2016 was the last time Atlanta had a player finish in double-digit sacks. That was Vic Beasley when he went off for his one great season, 14, 15.5 sacks, whatever it was. But since then, it's been a nice Grady Jarrett, 5, 6, 7 sacks here and there. But that's not his job primarily as an interior defensive lineman. You're supposed to get edge rushers, outside linebackers, defensive ends who are paid to get the quarterback down. Atlanta has not found anyone like that in quite some time, specifically all the way back to 2016, which is why I say there is no such thing as overkill for this position for the Falcons. Make it your top priority in the draft. Make it your top priority in free agency. And if you think signing Ngakoue checks that box, you're wrong. Double down in the draft. Once or twice for all I care. Get this right. They haven't been able to do so really ever in franchise history. So don't skimp out on pass rushers. Don't think 1 or 2 guys is enough. The more the merrier. Get some competition into camp. Let the best rise to the top. But no, I don't think signing Caden Ellis or David Onyemata is going to fulfill the Falcons' need to bring pass rushers into Atlanta. So you tell me, should the Falcons sign Ngakoue? Type Y for yes or N for no. I'm always curious what you guys have to say about these subjects, so let me know in the comments section below. All right, we got some free agency news to get to on the back half of the show. Tae Davis is a Falcon. He signed with Atlanta just in the last 24 hours. So Tae Davis, over his career, the former UTC player, he's played in 45 games. He's bounced around between the Giants and the Browns primarily. He actually played in 5 games with Cleveland last year after they had a slew of injuries. But in his career, 57 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. When we look at the Falcons' depth chart, I don't have him starting. In fact, this is going to be one of those training camp 53-man battles. I don't think this move is a, hey, here's a solidified 53-man rostered player. No, this is a training camp battle signing, if you ask me. Some more Falcons free agency news, though. Brett Tesler. You got to love when the agent tweets it out. It's like, Adam Schefter's not going down that low. But hey, my client, Cornell Armstrong, has agreed to a 1-year deal to return to the Atlanta Falcons. 6-year corner, started 4 games for them last season and had multiple offers elsewhere. I do love that last sentence because if you ever see Rap Sheet or Schefter put out a tweet that has a little bit of some color to it, this is literally the example of like just copy and paste from the agent because the agent wants their client boosted a little bit. So here you can see like, why does Schefter ever say that? This is why. The agent says, please say something nice about my client. But Cornell Armstrong, last year when the Falcons started to have some injuries with Casey Hayward specifically in the secondary, they went through a little bit of a, fire by birth, birth by fire, whatever the expression is, trying to figure out who the opposite corner of A.J. Terrell would be. Cornell Armstrong ended up getting that starting gig at the end of the season. It was a good little learning moment to see if that has any potential for the future. I thought he played okay doing so. 33 tackles, 7 pass breakups a season ago. I don't think that he should automatically be penciled in as the CB3, right? The first outside corner to come on the field if you get a 4 wide receiver set or if something, God forbid, would happen to A.J. Terrell or even Casey Hayward. My question is, who's CB3 on the outside, right? Do the Falcons look at the signing? Does Arthur Smith see the signing and go, okay, that's one less need for us? Or do they still want to add some more depth in the rest of free agency or even make it a bigger priority in the draft because Hayward's up in the age column, so he's definitely, good chance he's not coming back after this season when his contract is up. So usually teams look at the contracts and see, all right, when we're drafting, who's going to be a free agent next year, right? Who do we want to draft now to replace that guy when their contract expires, so we don't go into the draft next year looking for a rookie who needs to start immediately. Instead, we can draft their replacement now, give them a year to sit, learn, and grow, and take over in their sophomore campaign. So keep an eye on the Falcons' early draft picks and needs potentially being cornerback to replace Hayward if they're not all that sold on Armstrong being that next cornerback following him. But let me know. What is the biggest need for the Falcons? Chime in down below in the comment section. I think it's still going to be pass rusher, right? After that long TED Talk to start the video, I want to see Atlanta go pass rusher in round number 1. Wide receiver in round 2, okay, but then get back to edge rusher. Just keep hitting it over and over again. That's what she said. Now that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you tuning in, making us a part of your day during March Madness. I'm watching the end of Kentucky, Kansas State. K-State up by 5. Let's go. Let's go. My Tennessee Vols are dancing all the way to Madison Square Garden. I'll see you guys later here on the channel.